let's talk about the contrarian. A contrarian, I think, is a needed personality for any organization. Now, a contrarian can be a real pain in the hiney. It could be that person that is always negative and is always complaining and nobody wants to hear from. But those are really important people to have in your organization. And if you don't have that nagging voice, you always end up with unintended consequences. So, we give a whole seminar on contrarian leadership, but this is just noting that having friction in an organization is really a healthy thing. It creates great ideas. It creates, by going through friction, it accomplishes, it creates such a better work product if people challenge what you say as opposed to groupthink. There's a great quote. The trouble with most of us is that we would rather be ruined by praise than saved by criticism. So if you are ever in a leadership position, you have to expect to be criticized. If you're in a true leadership position, you're making tough decisions, and there is no way you're going to make everybody happy. No way. Impossible. And the people you don't make happy are going to criticize you. And if you cannot handle that criticism, then that's going to hurt whatever organization you're a part of. So if you choose a leadership role, toughen up. I think the phrase is suck it up, buttercup, and get some thick skin. Here's Jonathan Stein real quick on being a contrarian.
With over 7 billion people in this world, someone's involved to find a way to stand out. It's easy to feel small, like your voice is unheard no matter how loud you scream. Is there a way all of us can still individually make an impact or make a difference despite the unlikely probability? Yeah, not really. We're doomed. Just kidding. My thesis is in fact yes, but it comes with the catch of being slightly unpopular. Modern society has deemed it rather taboo to broach ideas that make us feel uncomfortable. And the realm of comfort is an environment from which all of us must escape if we hope to propel mankind forward. And the individual who braves the cold outside of that blanket of comfortable thoughts is the contrarian. I submit to you that we live in a world created by contrarians, people who challenge tradition, question the status quo, and understand that society does not determine how you think. These individuals have shaped the world we live in today and are undaunted by taking their turn at returning to the fray, the battleground of ideas.
That is Mr. Stein. Gives us,
7 billion people.
One other speaker, one of my favorite philosophers, Maynard Keenan. He's not going to talk about contrarian, but he is going to talk about this friction that I'm talking about and how friction can be beautiful. So bear with me one moment with Mr. Keenan.
Most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid friction. Somewhere along the way, I've found it in myself a desire, a calling to embrace friction, tension, transitions, changes, and to work with them. You don't really need a mathematician or a psychic to understand that life is change, life is friction. For some people, that's kind of a daunting realization that gravity is going to win. Gravity doesn't cut anybody any slack. Or you can just choose to work with gravity, kind of work towards those changes, kind of work and embrace that idea of the friction and work toward a solution, a life-affirming resolution. For me, that's kind of what life is. Life is working towards those resolutions. It's working with the tension and the friction because that's where art is. That's where the art occurs. And the purest art, the best forms of art, are those ones that actually capture that moment, that edge. And that's kind of what we have in Arizona across the board. Nice edges everywhere. A good example of that friction and tension, cello. You take wood, you bend it into impossible shapes, curves, angles, a place that doesn't want to be, not breaking, just on the edge. And then you string it, not to the point of breaking, just on the edge. And then you take that bow and you place it across those strings. And there it is, the release, the art. Sonic joy, sonic sadness, sonic anger, all within that release. And what's really appealing to me is that people who actually can capture those moments, capture those frictions, those changes, that's very inspiring to me, and that's why I do what I do.
So I think that's pretty inspirational when you look at friction like that, and I think that cello is a really good metaphor to demonstrate how that friction can produce art. So don't quell the friction. Don't run away from it.